One way of looking at human life, at existence even, if you allow me to wax philosophical, is as an infinite web of stories. It's very easy to feel that here. Everywhere we go, I feel like I'm stepping into another story. And not a contrived story for 5-year-olds, like you might get when you step through the gates at Disneyland, but almost always a meaningful story. The kind that helps you make sense of life's deepest mysteries, and how to appropriately act in life's most important moments. So often it's through the symbols employed in an environment that most effectively tell a story. Those symbols can be put there deliberately by man, like those in a cemetery. But very often symbols are created by seeing correspondences between features of nature and higher concepts of meaning. The ocean, for example, with its deep mystery, its capability to be undeniably beautiful or strike terror into the heart of men, its fluidity, its constant movement of waves and tides ebbing and flowing like emotions, its being a place from which all earthly life emerged. The ocean has often been used as a symbol of the feminine. The stories here in Asturias span so much time. Sites dot the coastline where prehistoric man has left evidence of his stories. I don't think it's coincidence that every time you put modern humans into primitive environments, they instinctively start acting like their Stone Age ancestors. It turns out these beaches we've been playing on have been the playgrounds of ancient monsters as well, and that's an interesting story. But for this 2-year-old modern woman, it's not so important to her that ancient monsters once played on these shores, but that there's a playground on these shores for her to play on now. As an aside, how long has it been the job of dads to push the little ones on the swings again and again and again? Since time immemorial. This cave, with the narrow road through it, is a place just brimming with a sense of story, and new stories emerge onto the imagination just by going through it. And as silly as it sounds, each of these cheeses has a story. Queso de la Peral, Afuega al Pitu, Camonedo, Peña Melleira, Queso de Pria, our favorite. And Asturias' most famous cheese, this intense biting blue named Cabrales. Each of these is tied to a place, a town or village, oftentimes a family, certain animals who eat certain kinds of pastures at certain times, and methods of aging that go back generations or centuries, oftentimes tied to particular caves and mountainsides. It sounds silly, but every cheese is a story, and we eat up stories left and right in our family. This is a family who we share a common story with, because they go to our same church, and kindly invited us over to their home for a fun evening together. And finally, Santiago De Compostela. This place has a good story. I first learned about Santiago De Compostela from watching this movie, The Way, and I recommend it to you. For over 1,000 years, pilgrims from around the world have walked the Camino de Santiago, or the Way of St. James, to this city at what used to be the end of the world, where the remains of the Apostle James are said to be buried, making it one of the most holy sites for Christianity in all of the world. The buildings, the stones, the narrow ancient streets are teeming with story, and with the spirits of the countless people who have come here seeking meaning and who have not left disappointed. So what kind of story are you living?
I'm just going to myself and a hiker that hikes on top of a mountain that I can see a church from.
Uh-huh. That's cool.
We're all living in a story at all times. It's inescapable. A wise man once said that if you aren't crafting your own story deliberately, then chances are you are living in somebody else's story and playing a bit part. There's a lot of truth in that. And that's it for this week. I leave you with the product of the week. Horchata from the Spanish region of Valencia made from the chufa nut, not rice like Latino horchata. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. See you next time.